Hello, my beautiful people. We are on day 10. I hope everyone is enjoying their Holy Week. Everyone is taking the time to draw a little bit closer to God. First, let's get through these two Psalms today. As usual, go ahead and click that like button, comment, share this, and make sure that you are subscribed. So let's go. Okay, so we are reading Psalm 20 from the Amplified Version. May the Lord answer you, David, in the time of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob set you securely on high and defend you in battle. May he send you help from the sanctuary, his dwelling place, and support and strengthen you from Zion. May he remember all your meal offerings and accept your burnt offering, Selah. May he grant your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. We will sing joyously over your victory, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember and trust in the name of the Lord our God. They have bowed down and fallen, but we have risen and stood upright. O Lord, save the King. May the King answer us in the day we call. All right, so this psalm is considered Davidic. It is of David, but we know through the context and the way that is written that it is more a prayer for David than a prayer written by David. And is most likely a prayer written for the masses, perhaps as David marched out to battle or off to war. So in these verses, we see the people or whomever this psalm was written for, putting full trust in God, right? It's almost like a chant that would increase someone's confidence as they went out into battle. It's like a victory chant before marching out into war. And I don't have a lot to say today about this psalm or the next one because they fit together, but I do want to point out a couple of things. So in verse 7, it says, some of us know this well, it says, some trust in chariots and horses, but we will trust in the Lord. So this goes against common sense, right? My pastor always says common sense is the opposite of faith. So by today's standards, this would be like tanks or fighter jets, right? So if we were to face someone and all we have are even guns and a couple of helmets, say, and our enemy were up against someone who has tanks and fighter jets, logistically and logically, we're like, there's no way we can win this. But our faith is not put in the things that we have physically to help us. Our faith is put in God, and our faith is that God will hand us the victory regardless of what we're up against. We don't look at who has the upper hand, right? Because God ultimately has the highest hand. Okay? So my revelation for this psalm actually comes from verse 4. And we hear this verse a lot, especially in the Word of Faith movement, especially as this idea that God wants to bless us with everything that we want, right? But this verse is not saying that, is not a prayer that God give us whatever we desire, whatever our hearts desire. It actually is written under the assumption. So let me take that back. It's not about God granting whatever we want, right? It is written with the assumption that our hearts are actually set on God, that we are upright, that we have an understanding of his commandments, that we are working towards righteousness, and that we have aligned ourselves with him and his words. Therefore, our hearts are aligned with God, and God then can fulfill the desires of our heart because it's in alignment with what he wants for us. So we can look at this also. I'm going to take you to another text that might help explain this, or it'll confuse you more, I don't know. But in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." He doesn't say anything about our plans. It's his plans. And throughout the Bible, we often take verses and that talk about God giving to us, God blessing us, and we leave out the part about our wants and needs having to be aligned with what he wants and what he needs out of us. So that is my revelation here, that we can't just take the verses that say God is going to bless us. God is going to bless us according to his plan. God is going to bless us according to how we are living our lives. There are rewards for righteousness, and it is in that righteousness that we will find the rewards of God, right? So we're going to move into Psalm 21. These are both connected. And again, I am reading from the Amplified Version. O Lord, the King will delight in your strength, and in your salvation, how greatly will he rejoice. You have given him his heart's desire, and you have not withheld the request of his lips. Selah. For you meet him with blessings of good things. You set a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked life of you, and you gave it to him, long life forever and evermore. His glory is great because of your victory. Splendor and majesty you bestow upon him, for you make him most blessed and a blessing forever. You make him joyful with the joy of your presence. For the king confidently trusts in the Lord, and through the loving kindness, faithfulness, goodness of the Most High, he will never be shaken. Your hand will reach out and defeat all your enemies. Your right hand will reach those who hate you. You will make them as if in a blazing oven in the time of your anger. The Lord will swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire will devour them. Their offspring you will destroy from earth, and their descendants from the sons of men. For they planned evil against you. They devised a malevolent plot, and they will not succeed. For you will make them turn their backs in defeat. You will aim your bowstrings of divine justice at their faces. Be exalted, Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your power. So as I said before, Psalm 21 is a pair with Psalm 20. Psalm 20 was a prayer on behalf of David as he went out. This is a psalm of praise on behalf of David. We don't know if it was written as he returned or even right after Psalm 20 as a praise in advance of the victory that is coming. And I don't have a lot to say again about this psalm, so I'm just going to move right into my revelation, and that is that there is this reward and protection that is discussed in the pairing between Psalm 20 as a petition and Psalm 21 as the, we'll just say the effect. So I'll give you a few examples here. In the petitions, there was always a action that David had to do in order for God to answer it. So David or the psalmist, whoever was reading the psalm, first asked of God to do some things, right? And then they were given. So a word had to be spoken for God to act. They prayed for the heart's desires and they received, but again, going back, the heart's desires were aligned with God's desires. They asked of long life, a petition was made, and then it was given forevermore. And then they put confidence and trust in the Lord, and they received victory, and David received victory. So there always has to be an action on our part in order for us to see God move in our lives. We have to ask. We have to petition. We have to believe. We have to open our mouths. We have to speak to God if we want Him to do stuff in our lives. We can't just think it in our minds and think that God is going to come down and do this awesome thing for us because we thought it one time. We have to continually think about it. We have to petition with our whole hearts. We have to petition with our whole minds. We have to seek God. And then finally, and what I think is the most important, we have to have that confidence and trust that God is actually going to do what He said He would, and that God will do what we ask of Him. We are not passive in this thing called life. We are not passive in our faith. We are not passive in the things that God does for us. It takes some action on our half to get movement in some of these areas. So if there is something in your life that you have been secretly hoping God will do, it's time to no longer make it a secret. It's time to bring it out in the open. Ask God. Open your mouth. If you have to whisper it because you're in a public place, then whisper it. Open your mouth and ask God. And then firmly believe that God will answer your prayer. But remember, God's answers don't always fit with what we want, but His answer is what's best for us. So open your mouth, speak it, acknowledge it, and then wait confidently and trust in the Lord, all right? As always, go ahead and read back through these two. Look out for the parallels between the two, the petition and the answer, the action that came in between. And I hope this blesses you. I love you. Enjoy the rest of your day.